What's good? Snap Turtle coming at you with another live. If you're stepping into the building, make sure you like and subscribe. Share the video. I have a very important message. All right. So, today, I want to talk about the importance of fatherhood. All right. And this is part of my endangered alpha males series, right? I talked about
in a quarter of a mile,
how the alpha male has been endangered for decades. And, you know, there's an agenda to castrate the alpha male in society so that the people are more easily manipulated and oppressed, and, you know, the tyrannical government can do whatever the fuck they want to do to us. All right, so I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about fatherhood. All right, and in particular, I'm going to talk about the history of fatherhood in terms of the melanated people. All right. Yeah, there's an attack against fatherhood in general, but more so against those of us of the darker persuasion, you know, or, you know, who are melanated.
Next left.
Now, I'm going to take you back to the early 1900s. All right. Jim Crow was very much alive. And during that time, we had made great strides in spite of Jim Crow, right? We built an entire community where we had banks, hospitals, schools, you know, colleges. We had everything. We had businesses that were thriving. Now, this was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right.
Left turn at the
they
end
call
of the
it
road and then
Black. They called it Black
turn.
Wall Street. And like I said, they were thriving. The fathers were there with the family.
Proceed about 7/10
you know,
of a mile to West Slauson Avenue.
You know, they built something out of nothing on their own.
Slow traffic.
Right. But the others in neighboring towns could not understand why this was happening. And they was big mad. All right? They were big mad. Then started the race riots. All right? That saw 300 people, 300 residents of Black Wall Street in Tulsa be killed. Businesses were bombed. Homes were bombed. All right? It was just, it was all out terrorist attack
1 mile
against
South Figueroa Street.
Against the black community,
1 mile
because
ahead
we were
on
doing
the
much
road.
too well
Slow
for them to
traffic.
fucking abide. All right, motherfuckers. So what happened after that? You know, why do people commit terrorism? To strike fear in the heart of the target community. And the target community was the black community as a whole. All right. And around this time, you know, the government started bringing heroin into black neighborhoods. We had the Cotton Club in Harlem, where the Italian mafia flooded the club with heroin, and people started using heroin, and they started getting addicted to it and hooked to it. It was the mission of the Italians to get black folks hooked on these drugs by the government. It was their express mission, and they carried that shit out. You know, and it wasn't just in Harlem. It was all over the place. It was L.A., Chicago, wherever they felt like we were coming up, they put these motherfucking drugs in. All right. So fathers started using this heroin.
In half
Okay.
of a mile, right turn.
Although
onto
they
South
continued
Figueroa Street.
to support and provide for the family. Most of them. All right. And then you had that. Flooding the motherfucking streets with drugs. All right. We going to fight war in world wars for they monkey asses. We come back. They ain't got shit for us. Fuck a black vet, right? That's what they said. It was still a lot of inequality going on within the military itself. And that essentially ended right before World War II. Even though it didn't completely end. What am I getting at? This began the attack against the black alpha male. All right? You drug us. You send us off to war. We come back, you treat us like double dog shit. That's how you do it. Okay? Then came the civil rights movement. What happened there? We started marching. We started protesting. We started boycotting. And in the process, we're being hosed down.
Right, and then
We're being shot. We're
left
being
turn.
hung. We're being lynched. Right? All over the fucking place. After Jim Crow. Around that time when they passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, I think. All right? That's when the Jim Crow laws were supposedly ended. But they didn't give a fuck. We were still sitting in the back of the bus, The fathers, the alpha males, the gully motherfuckers that could go out there and wasn't afraid to face down the enemy. We were murdered. We were in prison. We were lynched. Our homes were being burned down. Our women were being attacked. Our kids were being attacked. Our kids were being kidnapped.
In 3/10 of a mile.
All this shit was happening.
Left turn onto West Slauson Avenue.
All right? It was happening. But all this was part of an agenda to get rid of the alpha male.
Left turn ahead.
The black melanated
onto
alpha male.
I-110 South.
Because I'm going to tell you, at that time, around that time, right, they already knew for a long time that more white folks were dying than were being born. All right? And so they had to make some choices. You get rid of the black fathers, leave the black mothers out there on their own, and then you start seeing the swirling going on. All right? The swirling was real. Now, you saw the swirl both ways. But the point is, this was the agenda. So, what does that mean?
Next sharp right.
Well, I'm going to go back
onto I-110
to the civil rights
South.
movement.
And then the freeway
Okay.
is straight ahead.
The hippie movement, which was created to overshadow the civil rights movement and
Proceed
to
on I-110
inundate
South.
the people with propaganda, distractions, propaganda and distractions, while alpha males in the melanated community were being murdered and imprisoned, more so in prison. So this is when the Black Panthers was sprung up and started gaining some traction. Then you have COINTELPRO, initiated by the FBI to disrupt and dismantle the Black Panther Party, which were operating legally. They were doing shit legally. It wasn't until these motherfucking agent provocateurs began to infiltrate the party that the illegal shit started happening. Huh? This was what? So now they setting up all these black fathers that belong to the Black Panther Party, that believed in the Black Panther Party, that were protected by the Black Panther Party. You know, you COINTELPRO they ass, dismantle the movement. Then you start arresting all these strong black men, these strong black leaders in our communities. Plenty of them. Huey P. Newton, Geronimo Pratt, many others. Okay? What did you have left after that? You had the beta males. Okay? Pick up the slack. Start being with our women. And even them, they were being arrested because those were the ones who would become hooked on drugs and all that other shit. So you had those people hooked on drugs, and now you start to have the wave of single mothers that happened in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. All right? So for decades, there has been a systematic plan, a systematic progress towards castrating the alpha male and getting rid of the alpha male out of the black families. So what do you have? Well, who did the young black men have to look up to when their fathers are dead or in prison and their mother is single and she's doing it all on her own? She know how to raise no man.
Continue on I-110 South.
Then you have the crack era. Crack started in the 1980s. All right? And the government discovered, you know what? It'll be much better to put some no good, no account motherfucking Negroes out on the streets with crack cocaine to further destroy the communities. And that's what happened. They flooded the streets with crack. And motherfuckers like Ricky Ross and all these other idiots started cutting up coke, putting some harmful shit in it, making it more addictive. Cheap ass bullshit, right? Started flooding the streets with crack with the help of the CIA. So what you got? Fathers on crack cocaine. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We didn't know what it was, right? So at some point you have to blame the people who knew what this shit was doing to people and how it destroyed communities and families, right? And that would be motherfuckers like Rick Ross and the government, all right? So fatherhood was further being destroyed. Now, it's the 2000s, and it appears that black fatherhood is making a comeback, right? More black fathers are there for their children than they have been in decades. You know, I have all my friends, all my male friends are great fathers, if they are fathers. All of them. I would not have friends who were shitty fathers. And this is the case for many men. Many more men are stepping up. You know?
4 miles.
Now they gotta try something else.
On the route. Slow traffic.
What's that they doing? Homosexuality. So now, okay, Gen X, which is a generation that I belong to, wisened up, and they started being there for their children. We can't have that, because once they start showing unity and posterity, and they are there and they're building families and they're building communities once again, they can be dangerous. Once they start circulating black dollars within the community, within their own community, we are going to lose out, and they're going to come up. because black people spend a lot of money, trillions a year. All right.
Continue on.
We put a lot of money out there.
10 south.
So what they do? They put out more music with spells, so that you're spending your money on people, on black people who are not going to give back. So what these black people gonna do? They're gonna spend money on Prada. They're gonna spend money on fucking Gucci, Coochie, and Ziploc bags with fucking diamond lace pimples in it, whatever the fuck they got. This is what they putting out in front of black people now. So now they had to skip Generation X, and now they going to the millennials, turning them into homosexuals with chemicals, TV programming, musicians, music. They're coming at our children now.
Continue on I-110 south.
Because when I was growing up, we were listening to people like Jodeci, Boyz II Men, right? Silk, Shy. I'm talking about R&B now, all right? We were listening to that, and it was all about loving up on women. All about that. Loving up on women. I learned game from listening to that shit. Used to make mixtapes, right? And give it to a chick. She loved it. Drop them draws. You know, man and woman. You know, I ended up getting pregnant. Oh shit. I ain't gonna leave my kid hanging because my daddy. Yeah, my daddy. I'm talking about my dad. I'm not talking about hypothetical. My pops wasn't shit. Alright? He left when I was 4 years old. Little punk motherfucker. Alright? Had more babies with other motherfuckers. It is what it is. You know? He's a punk bitch. But I think he was on drugs. He was probably on drugs. He used to hit my mama. You know what I'm saying? I used to see that shit when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. Putting his hands on her. Treating her like shit. Eventually we left him. We packed up and left, I guess. You know, had to get out of that situation. But I hadn't seen him since. Over 30 years. So, I saw that. I imprinted that shit into my mind. And I said, no, because, listen, my mom tried hard, you know, and then she tried hard to raise me. She got a couple. She married some dude that couldn't give two fucks about me. You know what I'm saying? So my stepbrothers, and my half sisters, you know, they had a loving father. I didn't. That motherfucker didn't love me, and that's okay. I wasn't his. Even if he married my mom, it was still my father's responsibility to be a father. So, what happened to me? Well, I was bad from day one. Ever since that stepdaddy came into the picture. All right, he took care of me financially because he was married to my mama. You know, and he tried, I guess, but I wasn't the type of kid that he wanted. So it is what it is. So what happened with me? I was bad. You know, I would do bad shit. I get my ass beat, and I continue to do bad shit regardless. You know, because I wanted to be honorary. I wanted to act out. Probably because I wanted some attention. You know, I had to see a psychiatrist, a child psychiatrist. He told me I was uncorrigible, which means that I have a problem with authority. That's basically what that means. And I did, because I was mad. You know? I wanted to show him that whooping my ass and beating my ass wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to stop me from doing bad shit. So I used to steal from him. I used to break shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I stole. stole their money. You know what I'm saying? And it started because
on the right, and then
I picked up like $5 off the floor. I guess my mom had set it on the table, and then it got on the floor somehow. I picked it up off the floor, and then she saw me with $5 later on, beat my ass because she said I stole her money. Well, okay, I'll show you motherfuckers. I'm gonna really steal now. That's what happened. That's why I started stealing more and more. I used to take the money that I sold the candy, you know, for school. You know, I took that shit.
Left turn.
You know, I ate all. I would eat the bars. I would eat some of the bars, sell some of them, take that motherfucking money. You goddamn right. Spend it real quick too, so they couldn't take it back from me. That's right. Who knows? My father had been there. If my father had been there to be a loving father who taught me right from wrong, other than, you know, by whooping ass and explaining shit and explaining responsibility and honesty, maybe I wouldn't have stole all that money. I don't know. I will take some responsibility because I knew what I was doing, but I was just mad. I didn't give a fuck. So yeah, I was doing other shit too. I was bad. All right, I was a bad little kid. So this is what happens, and I'm not the only one.
Proceed about 7
I'm using myself as an example
destination.
because I am a good example of what a lack of fatherhood can do. Okay. So now, here I am. Father of 5 children. Five beautiful children, well behaved. You know. But, you know, they do bad shit every now and then. You know, they don't listen. They like to test your patience. But never put my hands on them. Not in years. I'd say 3 or 4 years. Maybe even 5. Because I realize that we do this to our children. We beat our children because
in half of a mile, your
this
destination is
was
ahead on the
imprinted
right.
into our DNA from slavery. Yeah. So we had to end the cycle. And in ending the cycle, instead of just whooping our children whenever they didn't want to listen, because they test you, and that's natural for them. It's natural for them to test you so they can know what and what not to do. That's how they learn right from wrong. Even if they repeat the behavior, they had repetition. That's how you learn shit. All right, you learn shit through repetition and problem solving. You learn how to problem solve that way.
Your destination
So instead
is
of,
ahead on the right.
we don't hit our children. I don't lay one hand on my child, on any of them. So, yeah. What we do is, if they're doing something wrong, we stop them. We might put them on timeout. What I do is I make them do some push-ups, some wall sits, squat real low. They have to hold it there. And then if they really did something bad, or you know, they're pretty good shape, so they act like they big and badass because they're doing these wall sits for minutes and minutes, and they're laughing. So I'll give them a book.
You have arrived at your destination.
A nice little hefty book for a
route
child.
Guidance is now finished.
Have them hold their hands out, and they have to hold the book on their hands as they're doing the wall sits, push-ups, whatever. You know? So that's something that I do with my kids. And then I explain to them what they did wrong and why it's wrong and why they should never do that again or continue to do it. So, yeah. You know why? Fatherhood. Fatherhood is important. We don't need that. We need a good fatherhood. Yes. Because let's face it, man. Without it, you just floating out in the world as a boy, even as a girl. Because you learn a lot of lessons from your father as a girl about what type of man you need to be with in the future. Because, you know, boys and girls tend to choose mates that are like their mothers and fathers, because that's the example they have for what a man or a woman should be, and what how a man or a woman should treat you. They learn that lesson from, you know, the parents. So when you take one of those components away, which is mostly the father for some reason, you know, then you lose half of that lesson and you're half empty. You're half empty. And I'm glad I can be there as a father to my children every day. I wouldn't think about leaving them behind. Are you kidding me? I don't understand how fathers do it. You know, you had these babies and you look at them and they're born and you see them as little precious little beings, and you can still up and fucking leave them hanging. If you can't be with the mother, that's okay. Go on your way and make sure you pick your kids up as often as possible and spend time with them. Don't hurt the children because you don't like the mother, and vice versa. Women, stop motherfucking preventing the fathers from seeing their children because you better. All right? That's bullshit. Same thing with the fathers, man. Y'all get your fucking heads out of your asses. You know? Pull your heads out of your asses and be there for your children and mothers. Pull your heads out of your asses. If that's a good man, if that's a good father, and I don't give a fuck if he cheat on you. If he didn't put his hands on you, okay? If he didn't put his hands on you, if he's not on drugs and all this other shit, and he's otherwise stable, and you know he's a good father, let that man spend time with his kids. The importance of fatherhood. Okay? Let's be good fathers. Okay? You have children, you busted that nut, you better plant that seed. You plant that seed, you better watch it grow, or you ain't shit. Period. All right? And with that, I'm going to say peace, and I'll get back at you later with another live, probably on the way home from work tonight. So, if you got time, look out for it. Should be around 11 o'clock, something like that, 10:45, 11 o'clock. Catch me on that live. I'll be talking about some good shit. All right? Peace.